Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are the UX design people. In this channel, we share inspiration, tips, principles, ideas, and everything related to UX design. My name is Blessing, your channel host, and in today's episode, we are going to be looking at a comprehensive tutorial for beginners on Figma. Basically, I'm going to be teaching you how to navigate Figma's new UI. Whether you're a seasoned designer or you're just starting your design journey, I want you to know that Figma is a powerful tool that can help you bring your creative visions to life. So in this tutorial, we'll just dive into the basics of Figma, from setting up your workspace to creating stunning designs. Then we'll cover everything from simple shapes to complex interactions, ensuring that you have a solid foundation to build upon. So grab your favorite beverage and let's get started. Before we continue, I broke this tutorial into two parts. So I'll try to cover the two, but if I'm not able to do that, then I'll just treat these chapters in this video. Then in my next video, I'm going to treat these other chapters. But in this video, I'm sure that I'm going to cover the first three chapters, which are Introduction to Figma, navigating the new Figma interface, and basic shapes and elements. In my next video, I will go into designing layouts, that is grid system, auto layouts, frames and components, and prototyping, and then collaboration and sharing. Thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't, please do, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of my videos when they drop. If you really do enjoy my content, please like, comment, subscribe, and share to all your friends, especially those in UX design. Figma is a versatile tool, is a design tool that empowers designers to create stunning user interfaces. And it's a cloud-based platform. That is, you can collaborate with your team in real life, no matter where you are. And then your files, your layers, everything you create in Figma, they are backed up in the cloud. So you don't really need to worry about a lot of storage space, because when you're designing, your files are not stored on your local computer, it's stored in the cloud. It also means that you can access Figma from any type of device, so far it's compatible. Once you are connected to the internet, you are able to access Figma. You pick up from wherever you stopped. You don't need to start transferring files from one device to another. Once you sign up or you sign in, you log into your Figma account, you will see all your designs and just continue from where you stopped. If you want to know more about Figma, you can just go to their website, 𝗕𝗀𝗴𝗺.com. You will see all the details about the website. You can design, you can build. That is, Figma gives developers the details they need to build efficiently. When you are done designing and you are handing off to the developer, by the time developer comes to Figma, they are able to turn on the dev mode feature and they can see what you are designing. They can see it in a way that they understand. You don't need to worry about this for now. I will explain later in this video. Then jam, this fig jam is just like a whiteboard feature, like Miro board or Miro, whatever you call it. Then present, this one is basically slides, like Google Slides or Microsoft PowerPoint presentations, but this one is more advanced, and you can even import your styles, your components from normal Figma design to Figma slides. So that's that. Then these are other features that are available on Figma. You can generate simple UI with AI. Then you can design consistently with auto layouts. Most of these AI features are not available to the general public yet. So if you don't see them in your own Figma account, don't worry about it. It's still rolling out, and I think they are still testing. And some of them, when they come out, they might even be for paid plans. So if you want to see more of the features available in Figma, you just sign up to a paid plan and everything will be available to you. Now, why should you use Figma? Like I said before, Figma has a lot of benefits like real-time collaboration, cloud-based storage, a wide range of features basically. One of the biggest advantages of Figma is its real-time collaboration feature. It means that multiple designers can work on the same file simultaneously, that is, at the same time. You don't need to wait for somebody to do something. You can even be editing literally the same page at the same time, the same file at the same time. As a developer, once you switch to dev mode, this is what you will be seeing. You will see all this code, and you can easily copy them and paste them to your code editor or whatever you are using to write your code to develop the UI. You can see on my screen here different people collaborating. You see Damien, you see developer, you see designer, Kapoor, Dean, Sydney, etc. Different people collaborating at the same time. So it doesn't stop you. So far you're online, your internet connection is good, and you are able to edit the file because there's something called access. And if you have edit access, then you can always work simultaneously with other members of the team. Another benefit is the cloud-based storage. This means that you can access your designs from anywhere. Like I said, you don't have to worry about losing your work or dealing with version control issues. You don't have to worry about that at all because Figma auto saves your work. You don't have to worry about losing your progress. The only way to not auto save your work is if there's really something wrong. Probably your internet connection got broken and for a long time it was not restored. Sometimes even when I'm working and my internet connection, fluctuates, it still saves the work, and by the time I just wait for a few minutes, it's going to be back online. Your changes are going to be saved. So when you're online, you're just going to see that your changes have been saved. But in terms of version control and what's it called, history, Figma saves your work. And if you want to, this is my file, the UX design people design practice. If you just want to like check out the history, like okay, you want to know maybe this file was there last month or something, you can just come to this file and you go to show version history. Once you do that, you're going to see like your version history grow by dates and things like that. So everything is just to show you that your work is safe. Like you hardly lose anything here on Figma. Once you bring it here and your internet connection is good, Figma is going to save it automatically. So that's a very huge benefit of using Figma. Then Figma also offers a wide range of features like vector graphics, prototyping, design systems. You can create beautiful designs that are both visually appealing and functional. You are not just creating things that look pretty, you are creating things that work. So I think we've done that. Let me just put a check mark behind this. So I know we've done it. Now, let's go to setting up your Figma account. Setting up your Figma account is pretty easy. Just go to the website. Once you are there, if you've never used Figma before, you click on Get Started for free. But if you have, obviously, you are going to log in. Once you click on this, you are going to see this prompt to either sign up with your Google account or you enter your email address. Anyone you want to do is totally fine. You can just use either one and continue. So if you continue with Google, that means that your Google Mail or your Google account is going to be associated with this Figma account and you can access it from any device. Once you are logged in with this Google account, you are going to authenticate and you are good to go. But if you use the email, then it requires you to set up a password after this screen. You can just try that out in your free time. Let's move on. So we've talked about signing up. Let's talk about using the Figma mobile app. Now, Figma has a mobile app. It's like a companion app. It's an app that you can use with your Figma account, and some call it Figma Mirror or just Figma app. So I've taken some screenshots from my own Figma Mirror app, and this is my phone, well, the battery is low, but then I was charging it when I took the screenshots. So basically, this first screen is what you see. You have your recent, that is the files that you've recently worked on, they will be here. I blurred out the content so that I don't leak some private information. Then this search, when you click on this search, you're going to see it's just a search page. You can search using the name of any file. Like now this one that has the UX design people design practice, I can just search design. Every file that has design is going to come up. We know what search means. Then the activity page is where you see maybe somebody tagged you using comments. The comment is also part of the collaboration. People can tag you and then you get a notification. If you want to see all the comments or all the notifications that you've gotten, you just come to this part and then you will see it. Somebody mentioned me here, and then you see details, you can click on it to go to the exact file that you were tagged in. Then you can sort it or filter it by clicking this on red. If you click on the unread, you are going to see the comments or the notifications that you have not read. Then the mirror part, this is like the most important part. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's like the most important part for me. So when you click on the mirror for the first time, it's going to instruct you to select a frame or component. When you are coming to the Figma Mirror app for the first time, you make sure that you sign in, you log in with the same account that you used to sign up, here. So you log in here with that same Figma account. It's only when you do that that you'll be able to see all your files. If you create a new account here, you're not going to see all your files. So you just log in easily. And then when you get to this Figma Mirror, you make sure that your phone is with you. You are holding your phone at that time. And once you select a frame or component, let's say you select this frame. If you select this frame, on your phone, it's going to display something like this: begin mirroring. So once you click on begin mirroring, this frame is going to show on your mobile phone. So you can try it out and let me know in the comment section if you got it right. If you did not get it, you can also indicate in the comment section so that I give you more guidance. Now, this press and hold to record is actually the title of the frame that I clicked on my screen. So if you click on this one, the name is the UX Design People Banner 1. So on your Figma Mirror app, you are going to see the UX Design People Banner 1, not press and hold to record. So don't worry about pressing and holding to record. It's not going to work like that. Like this is, let me just show you the file. Press and hold to, okay, yes, this is it. Press and hold to record. This is the name of the file that I clicked on. Once you click on any frame, you will see the name of the frame here, the name that is here. You see it here, and then you click on begin mirroring and the frame is going to display on your phone. So you can use that your phone to now, play the prototype. You can give it to people to test the prototype for you and things like that. So that's that about setting up your Figma account. If you are done with that, let me just put this check mark here. So now let's talk about the canvas. The canvas is just like an art canvas. That is where your designs are. So everywhere you can see, all this space that you can see all around, this is your canvas. This is where you place your frames, your layers. So your layers are on the canvas. And when you click on the canvas, you can see some things here. These things only appear when you're on the canvas. It's like your great-great-great-grandparent, like the parents of all the layers. So over here, when you click on your canvas, you're outside a layer. You're not clicking on anything. You can see that once I clicked on something inside, the items they have disappeared. It's now showing the properties of this image. So your canvas is where you can control different things like your page color. This is where you check your page color. Then the mode, the variable mode of the page. Like here, I have light mode and dark mode that I've already created. This one does not come from Figma. I created it in one of my previous videos. So this is where you can control your page modes, your page color, and things like that. Then over here is also where you can set up your local variables. And this is where I did the whole light mode and dark mode thing in my previous video. So this is a light mode, dark mode. Basically, the things here affect either the page or the entire document. So all these styles, these variables and all, they affect the whole document. While the page, this part is just for this page. Can you see it? It's just for this page. So here, color styles, effect styles, all these ones affect the entire document. And you don't have to worry about all this for now. But just know that when you click on your canvas, that is this entire area, this landmass, very big, right? You can see this is the biggest that it can go. So you can keep creating and creating until this page is filled up. But I don't advise you to overwhelm your canvas. You can easily just break down your designs into sections and create new pages. Put them in new pages. When the pages are a lot, just divide them, section them so that everything looks very clean. Let me also add that the canvas has its own dimension. So whatever you create, let's say I want to create this rectangle. If you create a rectangle here, this position is saying according to the canvas, like this rectangle now is sitting on 0.3999 on the canvas, on the x-axis. That is from here, from the beginning of the canvas, from the very beginning of the canvas to this place is 3999. From the top of the canvas, from the very top of the canvas all the way to this place, the top of this rectangle is 6971. You see that is very long. So you have your x position and your y position. These are in relation to the canvas because the rectangle's parent is the canvas. That's that about the canvas. Let's go to the toolbar. So the toolbar is what you can see here. This part under here is the toolbar. Before, we didn't have a toolbar here, and I'm going to be highlighting some differences between the old Figma layout or the old Figma user interface and the new one. So before, the canvas has been the same ever since. It has not changed. It's just the general land mass or surface area that you create your layers and the likes. We had a long toolbar over here that has the name of the file, the edit permissions, and all these actions. They were up here before. This dev mode was here before, but now the toolbar contains different things that you can do. So here, if you hover on this one, you will see what it does. You just need to wait. You don't need to click. You just need to wait and you will see what each thing does. This one is frame, this one is rectangle, this one is pen, this one is text, comment, actions, and dev mode. Now let's start from this. This one is the default what's it called, tool that is active. It's called the move tool, and by default, when you open a Figma file, when you create a new Figma file, by default is move, because that is what we use to move things from one place to another. So by default, it's the move tool that is active. But if you don't want to use the move tool, all the actions, or all the tools rather, let me not use actions, all the tools that have this chevron icon beside them, it means that they have more things. So the move tool can also be exchanged with the hand tool and the scale tool. Now the move tool is used to move elements across the page. You can see that the canvas is still in the same position, but the element, this element or this layer that I'm holding, I can move it across and nothing else is moving. Okay, but if I change it to the hand tool moves the whole canvas. Can you see it? It moves the page. That's what the hand tool does. So it doesn't move. You can see that I can't even use it to select. You can't use it to select anything. It just moves and moves and moves. You can use it to drag along the canvas. You just want to see different parts of the canvas. So it doesn't move elements at all. You can see that it's still in the same position. The third one is the scale. For scale is very, very useful because you can use it to change the size. That's what scale does. Scale can also be activated using K. Can you see it? K. Hand tool is H. Move tool is V. You don't need to memorize everything now, but as you work with Figma, gradually you're going to know how to use all these using shortcuts. So scale is K. Once you press your K and you select an element, you will see this section here. Here you can easily resize your element. So this one now is 1 times, like that is 100%, is like the same size. But if you want to make this twice as big, then you click on 2x. Can you see that our banner is now very big? Can you see it? Then let's say I want to return it to the previous one. That's 1x. It's back to the previous size. This width and height, the dimensions here are the natural dimensions of this banner that I created. So before scaling it, it was this. But by the time I do ×2, you see that both of them have changed. So it's showing you that the dimensions are now 5120 and 2880. You can also use the width and height here to customize how you want it to be. Let's say you want the width to now be 3200. Can you see it? It automatically calculates your height for you. If you change the height, you see that this one is now 3,200. If you change the height to 1,000, then your width will also change. This is basically how the scale tool works. You can either use this to set up automatic scaling, or you can use the width and height. You have a specific width in mind that you want to use. Let's say 1,200. You set it and the height will automatically take the shape. This anchor point is useful to anchor the design to one corner. So let's say you want to anchor, right now it's anchored to the middle. So if you are scaling it, it's going to just be zooming out from all the sides. It's going to be like this by the time you scale it. You understand? Let's see. Take this one to 2x. Can you see? It's going to zoom out and just cover the center of the screen. But if you anchor it, let me return this to 0.25 so that it will be small. So right now, it looks like it's in the middle, right? But let me anchor it to the left. Can you see? Top left is anchored to the top left right now. So it's anchored to the top left. By the time you scale it, you see that it's still anchored to this top left. It's not going to change. Like the part that is in is not going to change. So if you keep on doing that, let's say this is it again, it's still in the top left. By the time it's bigger again, you will see that it's just going to come to this side. It's not going to move to this side at all. See? Can you see it? It's going to be anchored here. So as it's scaling, this part will be anchored. It's as if something is holding it on this side, and the whole image is going to expand and just come towards the opposite side. That's basically what anchoring means. Let me return it back to the middle and change this to 1440 for the height. Yes, this is our original image size. Before I forget, another way to scale is to drag the elements directly. So you're on the scale. Let me remove it and do it again. So from here, from this move, you go to scale, or you just press K. You come to the edge of the element or the layer and you drag. As you are dragging, you are going to see that the element expands according to the anchor point. You understand? The element expands. You can do this, you can do this. So if you are dragging to the left, or to the right rather, it's showing here that your anchor point is to the left. If you are dragging to the top, it will change to bottom because your anchor point is where it's not moving. The top is moving, so the anchor is the bottom. If you drag to the bottom, your anchor point changes to the top. That's basically how it works. If you drag like this diagonally, it's going to change to this corner. Basically, that's it. You don't need to worry about all this too much. It's just showing you things that will not make you start questioning, okay, what does this do? What does this do? Because this is meant to be a comprehensive tutorial. You're supposed to know exactly what everything does after watching this video. So yeah, that's basically what the scale tool is. Let's move to the frame tool. Frame tool is like the most basic container tool because a frame is something that contains elements. So let me switch to the frame tool. I'll create my first frame now. Once you tap on this, this is your frame. You can label your frame or rename it my frame. You can also drag your frame, just resize your frame. You can put things in your frame like text. We'll get there soon. When you create your frame, you can see here now that you have frame. Initially, for this image, you can see that it's not a frame. The icon is different. This is an image. This is a frame. So it's even labeled already. Figma helps you to identify your layers. So this is an image, my image. Let me reduce the size. This is an image, while this is a frame. So this frame is something that can contain other things. Now you can see the frame here. You can change the size. If you click on this, you will see different preset sizes like Android, iPhone, iPad, MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, desktop. You can even see watch, Apple Watch, slides, and the like, Twitter posts, Instagram posts, iPhone this, iPhone that. You just see different sizes. So you see different sizes, you select the one you want to use. Let's say I want to use the slide. So this is like the typical 16:9, 16:9 slide. So if you want to put things inside, let's say you want to drop a rectangle, you come here, this is the shape tool. So rectangle, you just come here and draw it. So if you check this side of the screen, you're going to see that your rectangle is inside my frame. So if you move my frame around, the rectangle is going to move around because the rectangle is now inside your frame. So that's what a frame is. So this frame tool, this one that looks like hashtag, is one of the container tools. Another one is section. A section is just a way of organizing your frame. So let's say you have a frame here, then you have another one here, your frame, then another one. If you want to group all these so that people working on your file will know that they will know that they belong together, then you can use a section. So you just come here, this region tools, that's what they call them. You pick section and you draw the section around the frames. So you've grouped them to make it different because now the backgrounds are white, all these backgrounds are white, the background of the section is also white. And just come here and change your own to green or something, you understand, or change the opacity to 10 just to differentiate it. You can add stroke to your frame, you can rename it to anything you want. Then another thing you can do to your frame is, to your section rather, another thing you can do to your section is that you can mark it as ready for development. This means that when you are done designing and you want to notify your developer that these frames are ready for development, you just come here and do like this. So it marks it as ready for dev. And when you come here, you can see that the sign is here. Once the developer comes online, they're going to see that on this page, there's something that is ready for development. So basically, a section is just something that you use to organize your work. Everything looks tidy when you put them in sections. Don't forget that sections are different from frames. For section, if you come here, you see that you can't find all those iPhone, iOS, and the likes, all those sizes. I mean, iPhone, Android, paper sizes, and the likes that I showed initially. You can't find them here. You're just going to see a way to change it back to a frame or to a group. But this one is even disabled, so don't worry about it. The point is that you can change from a section back to a frame. If you do that, you can see that it's now a frame, it's no longer a section. One more thing, one more difference between a section and a frame is that for frames you can apply auto layout, but for a section, let me go back, it's now a section again. You can't apply auto layout. You can only adjust it to fit the content, that is resized to fit, but you can't do auto layout on a section. You can only do it on a frame like this. So you have your auto layout here. Yeah, so that's basically what a section is. Let's turn it back into a section. Okay, now the third one we have here is slice. Slice is a way of cutting out a part of the screen or a part of the page to show someone. Let's say I want to slice out I want to slice only the top of these screens. So slice, you just come here. Once you click on slice or you press S on your keyboard, you can now drag it like this. So if you slice out this, it's not adding to the frame, it's not editing the frame or anything. You can see that the slice is on its own, it's not editing it. But if you take this slice now, you can export it, just the slice. If you preview it, you will see that it's only the top that is inside the slice that you can see. You will not see the rest of the frame. So that is what slices do. You are just slicing out a part of the design or something that you quickly want to show someone. So you can export slices. That is like the major thing that people do with slices. You can't do any other thing, as you can see here. So here we've done the move, we've done the slice, the region tools, all the region tools. Then what are these ones called? Move tools, yes, region tools. Now let's look at the shape tools. So we're still on the toolbar, and the shape tools, we have the rectangle, the line, the arrow, ellipse, polygon, star, image, or video. Before we didn't have video, but I think last year or early this year, I'm not really sure, but Figma introduced the video option, so you can now import a video. You just click on it. Once you click on it, you can check out your videos, and if you see, you can add an image or a video. It depends on what you want to add, but then you can just try this out in your free time. All these ones are pretty self-explanatory: the rectangle, the line, the arrow. Once you click on it, you just drag from one place to the other on your screen, and you can see this is the arrow. The mouth is here, so here you can control the properties of the arrow. You can see, so the arrow is basically a stroke. The arrow is a stroke, but it has start point and end point. You can set the start point. You know, right now, the beginning here, there's no arrow on top of it. You can see it, but once you click on it, you'll be able to set it to whatever you want. You can see that it's changing as I'm hovering along. So just try to do this. Then the next one, I've done the rectangle before. I did the rectangle over here. Yes, I did the rectangle here. Then the ellipse. The ellipse is basically a circle, but it's not always a circle. Okay, it's just a round shape, and you can draw it by just dragging in your frame like this. Okay, so you have your round shape here, and this round shape can be resized or adjusted the way you want. So here, if you want, here where you have your dimensions, you can just do 300 by 300. Then it's now a perfect circle. For the circle has its own properties. Apart from the general properties, you can see that this is represented with this arc. You can customize the arc. So to customize your arc, you can just come here. You can set the sweep. The sweep is the first thing you set. If you do 90%, this 90% is showing that 10% has been cut out of your ellipse. If you do 25%, which is 1/4, you will see, if you cut out 25%, you are left with 75%. So you can see now that you only have 75% of your ellipse left. So this one is very good when you are doing pie charts and the like. So you know that, okay, this slice remaining is 75% of your data set. Then you can do 10%. If you have 10% left, you can see how small it is. Then let me go back to 75%. So right now, this start is 0%. So right now, it's starting from 0%. If you want the arc to start from another percent, you can see that is now, degrees, 0 degrees. If you want it to start from another degree, you see that it's coming from here. Before, this is it. This is the start point of the arc. But as you are increasing it, if you increase it to 16 degrees, you can see that it's now starting here. It's now starting here. Then 32 degrees. So this part is not changing. The angle here is not changing. It's still 90 degrees. If you know mathematics, you know that it's 90 degrees. But then the start point is what is changing. If you change it to 90 degrees, you will see that it's now 90. So it's just from here that is starting. Then this ratio is just the ratio from inside. Right now is 0%. But if you increase it, you can see that you can do different things with these pie charts. You can use it to make illustrations and all of that. This one kind of looks like a magnet. Let me change this start to, let's say, let me increase it. Yes, something like this. You can see that it looks like a magnet. 135. Yeah, it looks like a magnet, this horseshoe magnet. I don't know if you know it, but then yeah, that's basically what the ellipse does. If you set this back to 0, 0, 0, oh, no, this one has to be 100. Yeah, you have your ellipse back, and your ellipse can also be, adjusted. You can set this one I will explain it better using the pen tool. This is basically an egg, right? You can just play with it and you will get it. So that's that. The polygon is also straightforward. You can just drop the polygon here, and if you come to this part, you can see the count. So as more and more numbers you add, you can see 7 now. I have this 7 is heptagon, right? Heptagon. 6 is hexagon. You can see it. So you can just play with it and you will figure out how to use it. Then there's a star. There's a star as well. If you check the star, this is the star. You can also increase the count. You can do 10. Can you do 10? Yes, you can. See how it is. It looks like a blast. Then the ratio. This ratio is also something you can play with. It's like that of the circle. So as you're increasing the ratio, the center is increasing. If you reduce it, the center is going to reduce. So that's basically what the shape tools do. It's very important for you to know what the pen and pencil do. The pen is slightly different from the pencil. The pen is what you use to make fine illustrations. So let me press P on my keyboard and draw from one point to the other. You don't need to drag it. You just, when you get to where you want to do it, you just click on your keyboard. It will drop a point. Then you move to the next one. You click on your keyboard, on your mouse or your trackpad, whatever you are using, not your keyboard. Then you do this. So you are done. Once you land back at your start point or an existing dot, it's going to stop. Let me try to do a triangle. I start from here, then I bring my line here, then I bring the line here and go back here. So this is what the pen tool does. It creates really nice shapes and you can add a few to it. Can you see it? So it added to the two of them because it's treating both of them as the same vector. You can see here that is labeled vector 1. It's treating it as the same vector. If you don't want it to do that, then when you are done with this one, you select your V, that is your move shape. Okay, once you do that and you click on enter, your vector is done. This is your vector. By the time you now create another vector using the pen tool, let me create the triangle again. You see that this is now vector 2 and it's done. So you select enter and that's it. So once you are done drawing, you just click enter so that it's going to save it as a new vector. If not, if you keep on drawing, it's going to treat everything as one vector, one single element. And by the time you apply your fill, it will apply it on all of them. But right now, because you did it separately, it's applying it on only this one. So that's about the pen tool. Okay, let me also mention that using the pen tool, if you want to edit it, let's say this one, you want to make it longer, you don't necessarily have to do like this. You can just click on enter and you drag the points to wherever you want to. And you see that it's more fun than just dragging the normal shape. You have to drag the lines, the points, actually the vector points. So this one can be used to do anything you want. Can you see it? You can even turn it back into a right angle triangle, or you turn it into an equivalent, is it equivalent? Equilateral, equilateral triangle like this or something. Can you see it? You can just draw it the way you want. Then you can even change the shape. So this one is not set in stone. You can come here, in between here, create another point and drag it out. Then you can bend the shapes even. You can bend it. If you click on your keyboard, you press command, you hold it down. Can you see it now? When you hold it, it's going to bring out this little sign beside your cursor, and then you can use it to bend the shape. Can you see it? You can use it to bend it, or you just click on it and you see it has bent, and here you can now start controlling it, how wide you want it to bend and the like. So just play with this. You won't get it like at once. You won't get it at once. You will just keep playing with it until you know how to do it very well. So now I've turned it into an ellipse. Isn't that nice? So you can just edit it again and turn it back into a rectangle, something like that. So it's fun. It's something that you should know how to do. It's good for creating illustrations. This is what the illustrators that use Figma, this is what they use. Now the pencil tool is slightly different. The pencil tool is slightly different because this one is not, how will I say it? You can see how the lines of this one are. The lines are pretty crisp and the likes, but look at the pencil tool. You can see that it's more of like a freehand sketch. So as you are dragging, you don't use it like point by point like the pen tool. You have to drag as if you are really writing. Can you see it? I'm trying to write my name. So this one is the one that really works like a pencil, and you just use it to create your sketches and the likes. So this is my name, and yeah, basically that's the difference between the pen and the pencil tools. Here you can change the weight of the pencil, you can reduce the weight. If you make it like 1, you'll see that it's going to be slimmer. And you see it, the B is slimmer now. So just feel free to play around with it, change the end cap and the likes. So that's that about the pen and pencil tool. Let's go to text quickly. Text tool is just to add text to your work. So once you click on it, you start typing text. That's just it. And here you can see that the typography has come up. Remember when we were doing rectangle, typography did not come up. When we were doing ellipse, typography did not come up. Can you see? So this rectangle, this is the rectangle. You have your fill and the likes, but by the time you click on text, you have your typography. So it's applied only to text elements. And the things you can do here, you can change the typeface, see all the fonts that are available. You can see it, popular fonts, Google fonts, variable fonts, and fonts that are installed by you. Yes, you can add fonts to your Figma. You can also change the weight of the font, medium, light, black, extra bold, and the likes. Change the font size, the line height. The line height is how tall the font is going to be. So right now, this font is 72, but the line height is set at 180. Let me set it at 200 so that you will see the difference. You can see that right now is 108 rather. So if I set it to 200, you can see that the text is now taller. And if you put it inside a frame or something, it's going to occupy this height. Then the letter spacing is the spaces between each character. And can you see it? If you increase and decrease it, it's going to follow this format. So you can increase it normally by typing 20. It's too much, right? Or -2 pixels. It's either in percentage or in pixels. Then alignment, this one is just text alignment. Do you want it to be in the middle? Let me increase it. You see that this one is left aligned. This is the default one. If you center align it, this is what you will see. Right align. Then this one is to, like, if you want to align it to the top or to the bottom. If you align it to the top, by default is already at the top. Let me change this. Okay, this is still 200, but let me increase this manually. Increasing this manually does not change the line height. Don't be mistaken about it. So this one, I'm increasing this manually and setting it to the middle. You can see it. So it's now aligned to the middle. That is, no matter how long or short this is, the text will always stick to the middle. Vertically, it's going to stick to the middle, but horizontally, it's going to align to the right. Then the fill, that's basically the text color, is black. You can change it to whatever you want. Then you can add stroke to text. You can see that the stroke has been added. If you increase the weight, you'll see it. This is the stroke. Then effects, you can add effects like drop shadow. If you increase this shadow, you will see it. You see the shadow. You can add drop shadow. You can add layer blur, inner shadow, or background blur. I'll talk more about this later. So basically, these are the things you can do to your text. If you export the text, you're just going to get your text like this as an image or a PDF or something. So that's basically the text too. Let's quickly move to comment. Comment is a very nice feature. You can just click on the comment, then you drop a comment to someone here. So if you tag someone, put your art. I don't want to do that because I have a lot of people here that might not, I don't want their names to show. So you put your art and you can type in your word like, please check this out. Check this out. So if you just tag someone, people's names are going to show, and that's just how it works. So that's it. Then and then let me also note that the people there are the people that you've already added to your team, or people that have worked previously on this file, or that are in your project membership. So it's available on paid plans, but you can tag anybody so far you've already shared the file with them and they've worked on it before, or they've commented on it before. Their name is going to show up. Then this one is called actions. These actions just shows you different things that you can do, shortcuts, suggestions, different actions that you can do. You just type it here. Let's say you want to replace something, you see, find and replace. It will just bring it to you. So it's just a way of Figma trying not to make you cram a lot of things. Once you click on actions, you type in whatever you want to do and it's going to bring up the suggestions. So these are the things that I use often and it's already suggesting it to me. Then the dev mode part is for developers. I explained it before. And now, before the dev mode was free for everyone, but now dev mode is just available to paid plans and you have to sign the person up. And then by the time they join the team, like now this team now, I'm a member of the team and I'm an editor and I have access to dev mode. So that's basically how it works. You can only use dev mode if you're an editor or your admin adds you as a developer. That's basically the availability of dev mode. Once you switch on dev mode, let me do that now. You see that your panels have changed. Your panels have changed. You can't edit. If you touch something, you're just going to see the code and all of that. So you are not going to be able to edit, but you can still comment. You can see that you can comment, you can annotate, you can measure. So you don't have the access to edit someone's designs as a developer, except they add you in as an editor. So yeah, that's basically dev resources. You can just go through these in your free time, as I always say. Now let's get into the navigation panel. So yeah, I started with this toolbar. It's kind of interesting, but it's very easy to grab. If you look at this side, you have two rows or two columns rather. You have your navigation panel over here, this long row. Why do I keep saying row? This long column is your navigation panel, while this one is your properties panel. So the navigation panel is just for you to locate things. This is where you find things, but this is where you perform actions. So here is just for you to find. And under the navigation panel, you can see your Figma main menu here. These actions that are down here, these actions, you can still find them here. Then all these are for navigation, for you to just get somewhere. You can create a new design file, you can edit, view stuff here, you can control your view options, then you can do things to an object here just through these action, what's it called, the main menu. This is your main menu. So from here, you can access different things, your plugins, your widgets, your preferences, and the likes. Then if you come here, you can see minimize UI. If you click on it, you see that your panels are folded. They folded in. It gives you more room or more space to work. If you bring it back, your panels are back and they are here. They are no longer floating. So then the name of your file is here. The UX design people design practice is the name of the file, is under this folder. This is how I organize my own. It's not going to be the same in your own Figma account, except you have the same name and the same folder name or project name. Then this navigation panel is now divided into file and assets. Basically everything is in this file. So this file is just showing the things that are all the visible things that you can see in this file, while the assets are showing the components that you've created. So if you don't have components, it's not going to show anything here. So it's going to show what's in your library. You can also add more libraries. There are some libraries that are free for you to use. You can click on this one in your free time to see more. So under file, you have your pages. You can create a new page here, and you can see all the pages that I've created. I have like 20 something pages here. Then these layers are simply what's on your canvas. I've explained canvas previously. So your layers are all the things that you create on your page. So this one, so you just know that a file contains different pages, and each page contains different layers. That's how it works. I will say it again. A file contains different pages. The file is the UX design practice. This file, this is the file name. Okay, and it contains all these pages. Let me drag this one down. It contains all these pages like this up till this component playground. And then each page, on this page, I have these layers, all these layers. If I switch to another page, you see that the layers have changed. The layers have changed. So that's basically what it means. I've explained the assets. Now let's go to the properties panel. For properties panel, you will see that you have your design and prototype view. It's almost the same as this file and assets. So this design panel, or the design view of your prototype panel, just shows you the properties of your design. So right now it's showing the properties of your page, right? You have your page color, and then all these things are the things that you can do to your file. Now, if you click on something, it's going to show you the type of element you just clicked on. This is image. This is section. You can see it. Then this one is frame. It's very simple. Then over here, I forgot to mention this one. This one is like multiplayer tools. You can start an audio conversation with somebody. If the person is also online, you can start an audio conversation and you'll be talking as if you're in the same space. Then spotlight you is like you get everyone to follow you. So if you have multiple people online and you do this spotlighting, then people will be able to see where you are in that very instance. As you are moving along the page and everything, people will be able to see you. For example, if you are sharing your screen, or you don't even have to share your screen, to be honest. This rules out the need to share your screen. So if people are on Figma in their different houses and you just text them or you start this audio conversation, once you ask them to follow you or you spotlight yourself, they will be able to see you. And wherever you are moving, as your cursor is going, they will see your name just beside the cursor, and they'll be able to follow you immediately. Then this play button is a prototype function. So here you can present. If you present, it's going to open up a new tab just beside your file here. This is your file. It's going to open up a new tab beside it, and it's going to present what you are showing. Then this preview is just to preview the frame. If I click on it, you are going to see it. It's going to preview the frame right in this tab. So this frame is just going to be prototyped here in a very small version. Can you see? This is the frame. If I click on this one, it's going to change to the image. It's not changing. I know why it's not changing, because it's not a frame. Let me click on another frame. See this frame? Yes. Can you see it? So once you click on a frame, an actual frame, then it's going to prototype it here. That is preview. But if you want it to present, then it's going to open it up in a new tab, like I said, and open it in a much larger screen. So yes, that is that about this side. Then to share, you can just click on this to show you, it will show your team members, and you can also copy the link to share to people. You can adjust the controls, you can do different things like copying the link, adjusting the controls, sharing only the prototype and things like that. You can do that in your free time. In this prototype view, this is where you can set up your prototype. I'm going to explain more about this in my next video. I'm going to talk about connecting the prototype, starting your flows, the interaction, and the scroll behavior. Then, okay, so for this design panel, you are going to see your frame is here, right? Over here, you can see different things that you can do to your frame. I think I will explain. Let me bring this one down. And bring it down, and bring this one back up. So you have your frame here. Over here, you can see your frame. You can change the size, like I said earlier. Then you can mark this as ready for development. You can do it for a section and for a frame. Then you can create a component. I will explain components in another video. You can use it as a mask. I will explain it in another video. Then more actions that you can do for a frame are all here. Like I said, this place shows you different things that your frame can do. So you can add your alignment to your frame. A frame can also contain other frames. So as there's a frame here, I can click on this frame tool and draw another frame inside the frame. So this frame now, I can just make it iPhone 16. Can you see it? It has taken the shape of an iPhone. And then I come here and add some color. Let me add red so that you will see the difference. Okay, so my frame now has this new frame that I just did. Let me rename it. You can rename here to red frame and my rectangle one. If you move the frame around, this is my initial frame, you see that everything inside moves along with it because the frame is the parent layer and all these are children. So when the parent moves, the children will follow. Now, other things you can do to your frame, you can position your frame in different ways. So the position of any frame is relative to the parent by default. Now this position is showing you that this my frame is in position 9495 to the parent. And what's the parent? The canvas. Because if you look at it outside this frame, you see the canvas. But it's different in the case of this red frame because this red frame has a parent before reaching the canvas. And this one is positioned as 1154. That is from here, from the beginning of the red frame to the edge of the parent is 1154. You can see it here. So if you align it to the left, you can see now that it's stuck to this left. Align it to the center here, the right, then to top, vertical center, then bottom. So this vertical center, you can see that is vertical. This one is the horizontal center. So these are just things that you can try out in your free time. And then as you are aligning it to top, center, and the likes, the constraints are also being aligned. You can see here, the constraints are being aligned. I have a video on constraints and resizing. You can check it out for more information. Then the position of the frame is also something that you can do. If you don't want to do it manually here, to set the position to 0, you can come here and set the position to whatever you want. Then the y-axis, that's the position from the top. This one is position from the left, that is from this x. This one is position from the top. If you set it to 0, it just jumps up. It's simple. Then this transform, it has rotation. Then this rotation, you can just type in your degrees. Let's say you want to rotate it 15 degrees. You can see it. Then here, this one will apply 90 degrees right to whatever is here. So if you rotate it 90 degrees right, you can see that it's rotated, but it's still slanted because of this 15 degrees that was here. Then this part is to flip it. You can flip horizontal. You can see if you click on it again, you flip horizontal. Then this one is flipping vertical. So it's flipping vertical right now. So let's set this one back to 0 so that you will see what I'm talking about. Let me bend. Let me do something so that you can easily see. Okay, yes. So I put a rectangle inside the red frame. You can see it. This is rectangle 2 inside the red frame. So now what I want to do is that I want to manipulate this so that you will appreciate this flipping more. So now the rotation is 0%, 0 degrees rather. Now let's set it to 15. You can see that it has tilted by 15 degrees. Now if you rotate it by 90 degrees, it goes to the right. So instead of it being flat, it's now minus 75 degrees. Normally, if it's 0, let's set it back to 0, and you do 90 degrees right, you can see that it's now like perfectly straight, and you can see the corners is showing minus 90 degrees. You can keep rotating it until you get back to 0. So this is our original shape, right? Now this flipping horizontal, if you flip it horizontal, this side is going to come to this side. It's going to just like be a mirror image. Let me put text so that you will understand. Mirror. Yeah, so this text is inside the red frame as well. So this frame, I select it, then I want to flip it. Can you see now that the mirror text is now mirrored? So it's basically flipping it. So it's not moving the rectangle, it's flipping this image in a way that, let me scale this mirror to make it bigger. Yeah. So it's just changing this text in a way that it's the mirror image. So flipping just does that. Then if you flip vertical, it's going to be mirrored upside down. So let me do that. Flip vertical. You can see that it's mirrored upside down. So this rectangle is also mirrored upside down, but you can't see it because it looks the same. Okay, so I set it back. You can just play with this in your free time. Then now the layout of the frame is also very important. We are still, if you don't click on the frame, you're not going to see this. Like I said earlier, if you click outside and you go to the canvas, this is the canvas, you will see all your page controls and document controls here for styles, for variables. But once you click on your frame or this frame, you will see frame controls here, things that you can do to that frame. Now you click on your frame. This red frame is our frame of interest. Now the dimensions are here. The layout just talks about how the frame is in terms of size. This part is in terms of alignment and position. That is, we are not changing the size, we are just adjusting where it is. So this is where it is right now. Is it up or down or in the middle? How far is it from the parent, from the side, from the top? Then is it on a flat surface, or is it tilted? Is it mirrored? Things like that, they are here in that position. Then layout is basically the size, I mean the dimensions, the width and the height of the frame. So here you can see 393 and 852. I think we set the frame to iPhone 16. So it's taking the size of this iPhone 16. We did not change it. And the spacing, this spacing is just the spacing between the elements that are inside. Sometimes the spacing does not show because you have multiple items and they don't have the same spacing. Sometimes it will say mixed. So you have two items here. It's just showing you that the spacing between this mirror and this rectangle is 21. If I shift this mirror to the side, let's say I make the position 0, so it's starting from the edge, and I click the frame back, you see that the spacing is now 53 because it's now farther away from this rectangle. Now let me click on the frame back. Clip content. Clip content means that you want to hide all the things that are showing outside the frame. Now right now nothing is showing outside the frame, but let me bring out this rectangle. Let me bring it down. So right now you can see that the rectangle is actually beyond the frame, but you can't see it because the red frame is clipping the content. But once I remove this, you can see the gray rectangle again. That's basically what clip content is. So you have to click on the parent to clip the content. Once you clip it, you won't see the children that are outside the parent. It doesn't mean that the children are cut short or anything. You can just bring it back up also. So you are just moving this up or down. You are dragging it from one place to another. You can see that the outline still shows that the rectangle is of the same size. Let's continue. Other things you can do to the frame is to change the appearance. You can change the appearance of almost anything. You can change the appearance of this text as well. You can change the appearance of the rectangle. You can change the appearance of images. So appearance is not exclusive to just the frame. You can just come here. You see the opacity. It changes on to 20. You can see now. It's basically setting how transparent your layer is. Then the corner radius, this is just, right now the corner radius is 0. That is this pointed part. We are setting it to 0. But if you want to change the corner radius, if you if you set it to like 4, you see that it's a bit rounded now. See? Now 40 will make it very rounded. You can see it now. 40 makes it very rounded. You see that it looks like your iPhone, right? So basically, this is how to control corner radius. Other things you can do individual corners. Let's say you want the top to be not so rounded. Let's say 12, 12. And then the bottom will be very rounded. Can you see something like this? This is 12, 12 on top, then bottom is 40, 40. Now this corner smoothing is just for, setting how smooth you want the corners to be. So for this now is 0%, but by the time I increase it, watch this now. By the time I increase this, just watch it. You see that it's changing its shape, and it's not as sharp as the one that we did before. This one with the 0%. Usually phones don't have these very sharp bends. Basically, that's what the corner radius is. Now to fill is essentially the color that I applied. I did not type this color, I just typed red. You can also change the color. You can type blue. This is for beginners. And then if you click on the color box here, you can set the color to whatever you want by dragging here. Just set the color to whatever you want. If you want to change it from this blue, you can drag it here too, just until you are satisfied with the color you want. Then fill is also something that is quite involved, because you can fill with color, solid color here. You can fill with gradient, that is combining colors, using multiple colors or the same color but with different stops and different opacity. So here you can say you want to move from this blue, can you see it, this blue, to this purple. Yeah, make it deeper or something. Yeah, you can see it now that is going from this purple rather to this burgundy. So it depends on what you want really. Then this stops is basically how far from the edge it is. So these stops are essentially how the colors are far away from the line. So this line is basically the gradient line, and as you are dragging it, the purple is following it because it's at 0%. But if you change this one to like 50% now, you see that it has jumped to the middle of this white line. And if you drag the white line above and set it back to the beginning, this is still in the middle because it's at 50%. So you just want to control it in a way that you don't make your gradients ugly. If you don't get how to use gradients right now, you don't have to use them. You just make sure that the gradients that you are using, they are as subtle as possible. They don't cause sharp contrast, something like this, that will not really bother your users. So that's that about gradients. Then you can fill with images as well. Filling with images just means when you come here, you can upload images from your computer, and then by the time you're uploading it, just make sure that it's not too heavy, because if you upload a lot of heavy images, you end up with a very heavy file, and loading the file can be slow, because it's cloud based, and everything is coming back from the cloud. So you don't want that to happen. You make sure that your files are optimized and the size is minimal. There are some file types you cannot use. You can't use a PDF, obviously. You can use a JPEG, you can use PNG, you can use normal image types. So you can see that the frame has been filled with my picture. Let me remove this rectangle so that I will see clearly. Okay. Now it has been filled. It looks like a screensaver, right? You go back to your fill, you can change the exposure. You see that it's darker now. This is brighter, this is too bright. So I'm just showing you what you can do with all these controls. The contrast can be changed here. You change the tints, you change the highlights. And you see this one has a lot of highlights, while this one has minimal highlights. This one is improving the shadows, that is removing the shadows off my face, while this one is intensifying the shadows. So basically these are things that you can do to your image fill. Then for fill again, you can also change it, if you are using an image like this, you see that for color you don't have the fill, but by the time you change it to image, you see that your fill, fit, crop, and tile controls are here. And what they do is that they help you control how the image is sitting in the frame or the container. So if it's fit now, you can say that fit, it means that the image should be in its normal size. It should not fill, it should not stretch, it should not expand to cover the screen. So it's fitting itself, it's just sitting down the way it's supposed to be. Now for crop is very simple because you can just easily change the size of the image. You can just hide some parts. Let's say you don't want the, you just want to focus on a particular part, just my face here. Yeah, by the time you are done and you crop it, I mean, if you like it, you can just look at that. This is it. This is the cropped frame now. You see that is totally different from what we want. Usually when you are using frames like that, it's not really advisable to crop it. You can crop it before you add it to your frame, or you crop it when it's not in a frame already. Then the tile is just like adding multiple instances of the image. So if you reduce this now, you can see that it's just making more images to fill up the area. So if you have more, the more you reduce it, the more the tiles. If you increase it, the more you increase it, the fewer the tiles. So it's just going to create multiple copies to fill up the space. So that is basically what the fill function does. Okay. Now let's just set this one back to fill. Yes, like this. Okay, so I've explained fill. You can also change the opacity of whatever you're using to fill. If it's the image, you can change it to 20. You can see that the image now has 20% opacity and it's showing the white background. If I change this background to red, you see that it will bleed out. You can see that it's bleeding out into the image. So that's that about that. Let me change the opacity back to 100. Then another way to use this opacity is that you can come here and add a fill. You can add multiple fills until you are tired. So as you're adding it, it's going to cover the image. You see that this mirror is not covered. It's not another layer at all. It's still the frame that you're adding the fill to. So as you're adding it, it's going to just add more layers. And these layers are things that you can just come here and pick a color. You can pick a color for this one, you can pick another color and the like. So usually this comes in handy when you want to write text on top of an image and you want to improve the contrast. So for the image, you just add the overlay. This is what we call an overlay. And you come here, you can just select the color you want to use and then set this one to maybe 40%. So this mirror is, let me increase the, yeah, this mirror will now stand out. You don't have to stress yourself to read it. That's what it means. You can also add stroke to your layers. You can add it to your frame. You can add it to your text. So it's not exclusive to frame. Stroke is just a line that is around something. So if you add stroke to this, it's not showing right now because it's black and it's blending with the image. But let me change it to red and increase the stroke so that you will see it. Let me do 10. You see that the stroke is thicker now. It's much thicker and it's following the dimensions. It's following the corner radius and everything. Right now, the position of the stroke is inside. That is, it's not going beyond this line, this blue line. It's not going beyond the dimensions of the frame. But by the time you set it to outside, you will see that it's outside the blue line now. The size is still the same, but it appears outside the blue line. So it depends on the type of stroke that you want to use. You just make sure that you set it, you use the correct position. This center is in the middle, like is covering the blue line. So the blue line is in the middle of the stroke. We've talked about stroke color, the percentage opacity of the stroke. You can set it to 20% if you want it to be very light. Something like this. You can see that it's very light. It's not as strong as that one. Okay, then the stroke too, you can hide it, hide the stroke or show it when you are ready. Let me increase this to 80. so that you will see it. You can hide the stroke or show it. Then you can totally remove the stroke. I forgot to mention here too that you can hide the fill. You can hide any fill that you apply to an element. Then the overlay, you can remove it. You can remove the image. You can add more here. This one, I'm going to talk about it later, is to apply styles and variables. So if you have styles in your library, you have variables in your library, this is how to add them. This one is also the same. You can add variables. Let's say this red, you don't want the red anymore, you want this green color. You just add this. You can see that it has changed to the green, and that's because I already have this border defaults. Everything is already in my library and all of that, so you can easily add it. Then let me just change it to secondary so that it should be obvious. So that's that about stroke. It's pretty simple. Okay, this weight is the thickness of the stroke. You can customize the stroke style. You can change it to a dash or the solid one. Then the custom one, the dashes, you can just play around with this one. Let's do 10, 40, 10, 100 so that you understand. So I pick this one. So this is 10. This one here is 10. Then you have 40. The space between is 40. Then this is another 10. Then the space here is 100. So that's how it's counting it. So you have 10, 40, then 10, 100. That's basically it. Then the dash cap is basically is almost like corner radius, but once I put this one now, you can see that the dash cap is now like a pill-sized dash. The joining is just dictating how to bend the dashes. Let's say they are at one corner or the other. So if you change it, you will see the difference. That's basically that about stroke. Let's move on to effects. Effects can be applied to frames, to different layers. If you click on the effects, you will see the types of effects that you can apply: inner shadow, drop shadow, layer blur, and background blur. So inner shadow is basically applying some shadow inside a frame. That is, let me use this rectangle effect. Yeah, so you have inner shadow. You can see that the shadow is inside, it's not behind. So if you control the inner shadow, you are going to see it on top of the frame itself. So this X, let me change it to 20. You can see that is inside the rectangle, 2020. And then the blur, let me do 80. Can you see that is inside the shadow? So this one looks like the rectangle is swollen, the shadow is inside. If you do the same thing for a circle, let me do a circle. This is a circle, increase it, and then you apply inner shadow. It's going to make it look like it's elevated, something like that, like it's round. Okay, let's customize it. 10, I think 10 is too much. Then 40. Can you see it now? It looks like a ball now. So it doesn't have outer shadow. It doesn't look like it's bouncing on anything, right? Because this is how we set it. But if you want to do outer shadow or the normal shadow, drop shadow, is the one that will show as if the ball is dropping, something like that. So this inner shadow is here. Let's apply the drop shadow to this one. So the drop shadow, you can see that you have the normal shadow now. So it's the normal shadow that people apply on buttons and things like that. Then which one do we have again? We have layer blur. Layer blur just means blur this layer. If I apply it to my frame now, I do layer blur on my frame, it's going to blur the layer. Let me see. Layer blur, and change it to 20. Can you see that the layer is blurred? So everything inside my frame is going to be blurred out because the layer blur will work on the frame, and everything inside my frame is going to be affected. Now let's do background blur. Background blur will not work if the frame is not transparent. It only works on transparent things, and that background blur is what I used here. Here is background blur that I use. So here you can see that you can't see you can't easily see what's under, but if I move it a bit, you can see that there's some blur, right? This is it. There's some blur. So I don't want you to see all the information, but that is what background blur does. You can see that it's background blur, and I set it to 24. So if you increase it, it's going to increase the blur. See? Here you can't even see anything at all. But I want you to see the outline, so I'm leaving it at 24 so that you see what the structure is like. That's that about effects. Effects, you can also hide, you can remove, you can do different things to your the selection colors. These ones are just, this place is just to display all the colors that I've used. So I've used this red for my stroke. I've used this as an overlay for the, this is it, this overlay. Then I've used this gray color for this rectangle. This rectangle, this is the gray color. If you click on your frame, all the elements that are inside, all the colors belonging to the elements are going to show up under selection colors. And then here you can detach. If you have a variable or a style in your frame, you can detach the variable to expose the color. So right now I don't know the color, is 𝗕𝗀𝗴𝗺 something something, but I can't really see it. If I detach it, it's going to show me the color. This is it. It's going to show me the real color, but I don't want to detach it. Then here you can select all the items using this color. So let's say you have another rectangle here, and the color is this background positive default. Okay, and then I have another one. I've duplicated it. You can just do Command D or Control D to duplicate. So I have these two green frames here. So by the time I select the parent and I come over here, it's going to show the color ones because it's the same color. You don't need to say background positive default, background positive default. If you want to select all the items, see, select two using this color. When you select it, you have your green rectangles. You can see that they've been singled out. The other items in the frame are not going to show, just this. And you can now start editing them. Let's say you want to make this one, you want to change the corner radius to 12. Can you see it? But that's basically how to do it. So I've brought them out. I can now delete them. So that's how to look at selection colors. Then this layout grid, I'm going to explain it in another video because this one is already getting too long. It's part of the things that I said I was going to explain here: grid system, auto layout, and the likes. Now my internet has gone off. You can see that Figma has alerted me that this file has unsaved changes. Learn more. You can close this. You can still continue working because I'm not doing something serious right now. So you can close it. My internet just went off, but I'm going to keep working because I'm recording my screen and I want you guys to see what is going on. To export a frame or any layer, you just click on this and you just set up the size you want, the format you want. Is it SVG, is it PDF? Then you can export the red frame. If you export it, it's going to go into your library and you can rename it and save it. It's that simple. Okay, let's see. So far we've done the introduction to Figma, we've done the new Figma interface, we've done the toolbar, the navigation panel, the properties panel. Now I'm trying to see if we can do these basic shapes and elements, but I've actually mentioned almost all of them. This creating basic shapes, I've mentioned, I've even demonstrated how to use them. I did that of the rectangle, the arrow, the ellipse, the star, the polygon. I even showed how to add an image or a video. Using the pen tool, I explained that already as well. And working with text, this one is also something that I explained over here, this typography part. Then creating buttons is something that we have not done, but then I don't think it is so hard. If you want to learn how to create buttons, you can just, let me just do a quick demo for you. Where's your text? The most basic text is what I'm going to do. Sign up. You have your sign up text here. Let me change this to 16. So your text is here, sign up, and let me just change this to 100% because buttons don't really require high line height for text. It's the padding of the button that is going to do the magic. If you want to create your button, I mean the normal button that everybody knows, you can draw a frame around it. Come here, you click your F, or you just click on this frame tool. This is your frame, and you can make it long. Then here you change it to auto layout. This is a beginner friendly tutorial, so if you are already advanced and you already know how to do this, then there's no problem. You can change the padding. 20 is fine here. You can change this one to 12, and then you come down here to change the corner radius to something like 12. Let's see what we have. So this looks good, but let me change this one to 8. Yeah, and then the fill, I'm going to use this brand color. Then the contrast is poor. Let me change the text color to white on brand. Okay, so this is a basic button. Everybody knows when they see this, it looks clickable and they can just click on it. So basically that is how to create the simplest button. You can experiment, you can literally do any type of button you want. So far you know your way around Figma, you can walk through all the panels, you can check out all the views and the likes. So yes, we've come to the end of the video. You now know what Figma is, you know why you need to use Figma, or why it is recommended for you to use Figma. I'm not imposing it on anyone. Then you know how to set up your account, signing up using the Figma mobile app. Then the interface, the new Figma interface, I've explained everything, all the panels and all the views that are in the panels, what everything does. Then the basic shapes and elements, I've explained everything while I was explaining the panels. So yes, that's it. In our next video, we're going to cover the chapters, designing layouts, prototyping, and collaboration and sharing. I hope you really enjoyed this video. It was lengthy, but it was meant to be comprehensive. So I hope and I believe that you have really learned a lot. If you have questions, comments, feedback, you can drop them in the comment section. And if you don't want to do that, you can send me a direct email by clicking on my profile. If you have not subscribed yet to this channel, please do so. Like, share my video, subscribe, and comment, interact with my content and all that. If you have a particular type of content that you would want me to create to enhance your UX design knowledge, you can let me know through the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.